Nations under pressure, crime, insecurity, and war statistics across Iran and the United States. Across the crime global security analysis. In today's global security landscape, crime no longer exists in isolation. Across nations, criminal activity, national insecurity, political instability, and warfare have become deeply interconnected. Nowhere is this convergence more visible than in Iran and the United States, two nations operating under vastly different political systems, yet facing escalating internal and external pressures that shape their crime environments. This publication examines how crime trends, insecurity, and war-related dynamics are evolving across Iran and the United States, and how state power, civilian safety, and national stability intersect in an era defined by tension, surveillance, and armed readiness. Iran: crime, repression, and war-driven insecurity. In Iran, the concept of crime cannot be separated from the state itself. Unlike conventional crime environments where theft, assault, and homicide dominate public safety discussions, Iran's crime landscape is defined by political repression, mass arrests, executions, and conflict-related security operations. State power as a crime driver. Iran's internal security apparatus treats dissent, protest, and online expression as criminal acts. Demonstrations linked to economic hardship, fuel prices, women's rights, and political opposition have repeatedly been met with lethal force, mass detentions, and closed trials. Crime statistics in Iran are therefore deeply distorted. Thousands of arrests are categorized as security crimes, often without transparency or judicial independence. In many cases, charges such as espionage, collaboration with foreign powers, or national security threats are used to criminalize civilians. Executions remain a central enforcement tool. Iran consistently ranks among the world's top executioners, with death sentences applied not only for violent crimes but also for political and ideological offenses. These executions function less as crime deterrents and more as instruments of control. War and security statistics. Iran's ongoing regional confrontations, particularly tensions involving Israel and Western allies, have intensified internal crackdowns. During periods of military escalation, Iranian authorities routinely announce tens of thousands of arrests tied to alleged sabotage, cybercrime, or intelligence collaboration. War preparedness has reshaped domestic policing. Surveillance technologies, cyber monitoring, and paramilitary deployments have expanded nationwide. Civilian neighborhoods increasingly resemble security zones, blurring the line between law enforcement and military control. Rather than reducing crime, this environment pushes criminal activity underground, including smuggling, black market trade, cybercrime, and illicit finance networks that thrive under sanctions and economic isolation. The human cost. For civilians, insecurity in Iran is not defined by street crime alone. It is defined by fear of the state. Arbitrary arrests, forced confessions, and closed-door trials erode trust in institutions and eliminate pathways for lawful dissent. Insecurity statistics in Iran must therefore be read not only through crime numbers, but through indicators such as arrest volumes during unrest, execution counts, political detention rates, military mobilization levels. Together, these figures paint a picture of a nation where crime control and political survival are inseparable. United States: crime trends within a militarized society. In contrast, the United States operates under a civilian-centered criminal justice system with publicly reported crime data. However, despite recent declines in certain crime categories, national insecurity remains a defining concern, driven by gun violence, mass shootings, organized crime, and global military commitments. Violent crime and statistical declines. Recent national data shows that violent crime and homicide rates have declined from their pandemic-era peaks. Many major cities have recorded fewer murders year over year, reflecting improvements in policing strategies, community interventions, and post-pandemic stabilization. However, these declines do not eliminate insecurity. The United States still experiences high gun ownership rates, recurring mass shooting incidents, persistent gang and drug-related violence, uneven crime concentration across neighborhoods, crime reduction has been unequal, with marginalized communities continuing to face disproportionate exposure to violence. Gun violence as a national security issue. Unlike Iran, where weapons are tightly controlled by the state, the U.S. civilian population is heavily armed. This reality transforms everyday crime into a national security concern. Mass shootings, though statistically rare, exert outsized psychological impact. They shape public fear, political debate, and law enforcement posture. Schools, malls, churches, and workplaces have become potential crime scenes, reinforcing a culture of vigilance and anxiety. The militarization of policing, armored vehicles, tactical units, surveillance systems, reflects a society preparing for worst-case scenarios even during peacetime. War, defense spending, and domestic impact. The United States' global military presence also shapes internal security. Trillions spent on defense coexist with underfunded social services, contributing indirectly to crime through inequality, homelessness, and substance abuse. Veteran reintegration challenges, mental health strains, and access to firearms further complicate the crime landscape. While war may occur abroad, its social consequences are felt at home. What the statistics really mean. Crime and war statistics are not neutral. They reflect political priorities, governance styles, and social contracts. In Iran, low reported street crime does not equal safety. It reflects suppressed reporting and authoritarian control. In the United States, declining crime numbers do not erase public fear fueled by mass violence and inequality. Both nations reveal how insecurity adapts to system design. One relies on force and silence. The other struggles with freedom and fragmentation. The global warning. As geopolitical tensions rise worldwide, more nations may drift toward one of these two models. Control-based security, where the state dominates crime narratives. Fragmented security, where civilians navigate risk in open societies. Neither model offers a complete solution. Without accountability, repression breeds resistance. Without cohesion, freedom breeds fear. Across the crime. Across Iran and the United States, crime is no longer just about lawbreakers. It is about power, fear, survival, and the limits of governance. When war influences policing, when insecurity becomes normalized, and when civilians adapt to constant threat, crime evolves into a mirror of national identity. Across the Crime continues to track these realities, not just the numbers, but the forces behind them, because understanding crime today means understanding the world itself. Stay informed. Stay critical. This is Across the Crime.